is Bible and the Making of Modern India and how the Bible created modern India. First book has been already published and released, so we encourage you to buy and read the book. Um, if you would like to join this mailing list, please email India Research 75 at Gmail. And today we have with us Sister Sonal Kellogg, um, seasoned journalist with 30 years of journalism experience under her belt. She is also a filmmaker. She has shot this Life of Amy Carmichael documentary, which has won an award in a Christian filmmaking competition instituted by a church um, in Vizag. And so today she'll be talking about the life of Amy Carmichael, the film, what inspired her to do so, and why is Amy Carmichael one of her obviously favorite characters, and her also fights with you know her personal fights with the system and how she is doing journalism. Thank you. Over to you, Sister Kellogg. Sister Sonal.
Hello, everyone. Sorry, my throat is bad. I've been down with viral, so I hope you will excuse me for that. But yeah, so I wanted to start just by how did I get into making YouTube videos? And very shortly, I'll tell you, because I've been a print media journalist for many years. But what many people don't know is I started after my master's in communications. I started making with working in educational media. So the EMRC, Educational Media Research Center. I made educational media research programs before for about 2 years before I went to ZTV in Bombay, and I worked there. And after that I shifted to print media. But for years, I remained a print media journalist. It was only in December 2022 that I got into YouTube making by one of my students. I teach journalism. I've taught journalism at Delhi University, YMCA in Delhi, and now here in Ahmedabad. I'm based in Ahmedabad, so I teach journalism in LJ University. So one of my students, former students, after it passed out, he told me, "Ma'am, you already know so much about news. You should get into the YouTube." And I was like, he said, "I'll do everything. You just do the news part of it. I will do the editing. I will do the photo shooting." And that's how we got into it 3 years ago in December. In So for 2 years, but then you have to be able to pay somebody to edit and shoot and all that. So I did some of the things that many people have done before they've actually got into something. Is I put my house on rent, shifted in with my mother, so I would have some income, and started making. For 2 years, we did this until I got a small amount of funding. That's when we were able to move out of Ahmedabad. Otherwise, the only other time I was able to move was during the Lok Sabha elections when I crowdfunded and was able to get a small, about 60,000 rupees, so I could do shooting in not just Gujarat, tribal districts of Gujarat, but also tribal district of Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, and Maharashtra. Before the Lok Sabha elections, this was in April 2024, but just before the elections were held. So after that, again, we can't move out so much because of the whole, because it's expensive. But once I got the fund, I was like, okay, now I can go to many places. And I planned this trip to go to Bangalore and Madras, no, Chennai, Madras Christian College. My friend who works there told me that you should do ME Carmichael. I was like, yeah, I must do work on her. And I didn't realize how far it is. How far is uh, um, Donavur from Chennai. That's one story I would like to tell you. But before that, the reason I got into YouTube media, basically news videos, is because my idea is that we need to have a Christian voice, the Christian perspective on all stories. The mostly what happens is you will get a story. I just saw in Times of India just yesterday, so and so pastor caught. he is confessed in Agra. Lalwani, I think. He's confessed that he's got converted only 4 years ago. Now he's telling, praying for others. And they found Bibles and um, hymn books in his house. And so he's confessed he's been praying for people, and that's why he's got for conversion. Now that itself doesn't constitute conversion, but Times of India has no counter, has no point of view from anybody else or who was getting prayed over, and all that. They just published that story like that. The Times of India, who you expect to be more responsible than that, but they've done a large story with just this kind of narrative. We need to have a counter. We need to tell our own stories. We need so many of us in the media, and I'm just doing my small bit, which I can do. So that's where I began. I'm so thankful somebody thought that they could fund me. At 62 years of age, I got funded. Only God can do this. Nobody, in the way we look at things in a natural world, we don't think that we're going to start funding one 62-year-old woman who's already past her prime and retired from her job, that she's going to do the great job. We would have funded a 30-year-old, 40-year-old. But here I am, uh, and I got funded, and I was so overwhelmed. I was like, oh my God, I'm doing this right. And then after 2 years, you showed this to me. And I got quite excited, and I started moving and doing stories. Now, getting back to Donabur and Amy Carmichael, I looked her up and I was like, oh, yes, we should go there. And I was like, oh, it's in Tamil Nadu, so how far can it be? And then I find it is like 666 kilometers from Chennai. That's a long distance. How do we get there? So we were doing buses and all. And again, if you're going by buses, it's going to be too tired to shoot the next day. And we tried to shoot uh, stay as less as we can so that we don't spend money in staying in hotels and in bookings and all that kind of thing. So I was at Madras Christian College and I was booking from there. We had two different bookings. Both of them were on major waiting list. So I was like, okay, I'll book a Tatkal. And my cameraman, who's by the way a Brahmin, Chandra Prakash, he said, madam, there's no way you will get any booking. It cannot happen. It will not. But Tatkal will get over so fast, you won't be able to book. I said, you live in the real world and the natural world. I live in the spiritual world. This will happen. So you know, this miracle started right from there, right from the time I got funding, by the way. But then I was like, oh my God, I'm so scared. He said, acha chalo dekh lete hain aaj. Well, let's see today if you're going to get this, um, you're going to get your reservation or not. And then I fervently prayed, God, please, now that the Chandra Prakash doesn't believe in me, he's my cameraman and my photographer and my editor. So I was like, oh my God, praying. And then three of us were traveling, my friend Selvi and two of us, and all three of us got reservations. And that's how we went to Tirunelveli. And we then had a person helping us locally there. And we went to Donavu. We are, by the way, shooting. Otherwise, documentaries are shot over a period of time, like they would be shooting for maybe 4 5 days, 8 10 days, depending on their budget and how complicated their script is and how many locations they want to shoot. But we don't have that kind of fund or budgets, so we just shoot in one single day. In one day, we will go and we will try to shoot as much as we can from different locations, and that's how we do our story. So we are always short footage, short of really looking for like let's like a early morning shot, then the view will be beautiful. Or let's take a late night shot when the sun will be, you know, uh, um, setting, and that's the time when the sun will look in the background beautiful. That's how we filmmakers do, and that's why I've also learned. But I don't have that kind of luxury, so I shoot at whatever time when I'm there and whoever I can find and whoever is available, because also people are busy. You give them a time, they will have a time, and they might at the last moment have some kind of emergency and might not be available on the time that we are there. This has happened. We're a small unit. Sometimes people don't take you as seriously, and they will be, oh, okay, let's do it next time. And you might have traveled like thousands of miles to reach somewhere. People will still tell you such things. So there I was, and I knew Amy, so I had read, of course, you never go to a place to shoot until you do some background and story. So I did all of that. But even then, I was so overwhelmed with that place. It is, so many things she has done. They have preserved the land. They have things like they don't take cars inside. Our car was just as we entered, they put a car there. Then they travel by either walk or they go by cycles. So they've preserved. Conservation is also part of their thinking, which Amy brought in. They have a uniform. They're wearing khadi saris, beautiful blue ones though, and they have various of these rituals. They grow their own food, and that's what they eat. And so these various things. They're also taking care of the women who came in very young. That one of them I've interviewed she came there as a 17-year-old woman, and then she was there. Now she's in her 80s and she's there. So they take care of the older woman. And so it's a very nice place where they are uh, not just conserving, but they are also uh, sustainable, and they keep the land nice. They let the trees grow there. They don't cut the trees. They let them fall where they are and stuff like that. For us, they use these battery operated carts to take us around. So that's how careful they are about their environment and their place. Now, when I actually came, when we went and we shot and we did the shooting, then in July, I was in the process of editing the video. And we would have put it up at the end of it, uh, towards the end, like about 2025 of July is when I would have put my video there. But what happened was, I came across this uh, competition in one website in one's WhatsApp group, which I don't normally go so often to. But then I saw this, I was like, okay, there is this Christian film competition. And I looked at the criteria, and just at looking at the criteria, I knew this was for me because you had to do the stories had to be of a missionary, Christian missionary who has worked in India. The uh, video had to be in either Hindi, English, or Telugu. I do my videos in Hindi and English. It had to be less than 20 minutes, under 20 minutes. And fourth, which is a very important rule that they had, it should have not have been published till 5th of August, which is when was the last day of their competition. We had to send them unlisted YouTube link and not publish it till that day, and only then we could publish. And if I hadn't read this, we would have published our story. But because of that, we had not published our story. And it was on Amy Carmichael, and it was in Hindi and English, and it was under 20 minutes. So all the conditions, I knew at that time I'm going to get an award. There were many awards there, best story, best cinematography, best view, a maximum number of views, so many things. But when I entered, I knew for sure that this is what God's showing me. I'm going to get an award here. So sometimes God does this, He also tells you in advance. I happily applied. I don't know anybody there. I just applied. On 9th of August, they had their event, which was a Saturday. So I let Sunday go. And my camera person again was telling me, oh, did we win an award? What happened? I said, oh, I'll find out. And on Monday, I got a mail from them with a list of people who won. And I was one of them. And I was like, oh my God, this is the first time won an award. And in, a film for which, I mean, we see documentaries, you should actually put in a lot of time, really look for those pretty shots and proper timing and proper sunlight and all these kind of things so that you really are able to make it beautiful. But overall, we got the award for the best documentary presentation. So it's an overall award for the whole, uh, uh, you know, video. So I would like to show you my video, and I will do my screen sharing and show you. It's just a 17-minute film, and that's what I'd like you all to see. I need somebody to turn on the screen sharing.
I did. You can share now. Yes.
Right, thank you. Okay. Before I start, this is in just the beginning and the end is in Hindi. Otherwise, it's in English. Just for those who don't understand Hindi, I just thought I'll tell you that much.
You know what? This uh, audio is not coming through. Uh,
Okay. Can you do it from your end? I will
uh,
send you the link.
yeah, I have the link already. I sent it out in the meeting minutes. I mean, meeting invite. So probably,
Stop sharing.
yeah, you can probably stop sharing. Yes, I'll try to do it from my end. Let me see. Bible and the making of modern India.
Yeah.
Can you just send me the link over the chat? Just this one. I think I because my system restarted, I
I will
couldn't.
send you right now.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're going to just play this um, thing here.
In the meantime, let me tell you, this is part of the series. I'm doing a series on Christian contribution towards nation building. We have in India completed 75 years as a republic. And I thought we need to also show what Christians have done in India. We've done so much. But nowadays we are only being attacked and known as those who keep converting others. So there's so much of Christian contribution in India. I mean, so much of it developing languages, developing journalism actually is developed in India by Christians doing all this, rescuing Devadasis, children, educating girls. In fact, the whole education of women in India is all because of missionaries. There's a lot of that. There's so much, so much. I've just recently released a story of a school in the hills, in the remote hills, in 1852. Two women started that. So there's so much of work which Christians have done and are continuing to do. So I thought that this contribution to nation building would be a good series to do at this time when we have completed 75 years. Prashant, are you ready?
Yes, yes, just a second. Yes.
Okay. So that's what I've done. And we need many more stories which need to be told. I've also done on Ferdinand, Dr. Mitchell, and I'm just about to finish Dr. Reverend Kellogg, who developed the Hindi language. I'm very proud that he came to my state, Uttarakhand, where I come from. I'm also having the same surname, Kellogg. So we're not related in any way. But so he was in Masuri, which is in Uttarakhand, which is where I come from. So that will shortly be releasing that. So I'm doing a lot of these kind of stories, apart from, of course, news. And I do a lot of persecution stories of how my attacks on Christians and stuff like that. I mean, lawyers who are fighting these cases of wrongly accused pastors. So various different kinds of stories we do. And I like to really follow strict journalistic principles because we are living in a very hard state, harsh state. For Christians, we need to be careful how we report things. At least from our side. Of course, they don't need, nobody needs an excuse to put you in. If they want to, they are going to just do it. So, yeah. What has impressed me about people like Amy Carmichael? She came as a 31-year-old and she stayed straight for 50 years. I mean, how can you give how much? I mean, somebody who's not an Indian, she came here and spent her whole life here working for poor children who were abandoned, who are being mistreated, who are sex slaves actually, or who will become sex slaves. And for such people, she spent her whole life giving up a very different life from, in fact, again, she was not the only one. There were so many of them. And we in India, when I feel we are not doing enough to for our own country. This is my country. We have to do more. And so um, these all these women really challenge me, whether it's her or Rita Scudder, or there are many more actually. A lot of women have opened hospitals. I've done Rainy Hospital, also opened by a woman, where the first director was a woman. So yeah, Nandor Hospital also started by a woman. Sorry, now I guess we can.
नमस्ते। हम हमारे नए वीडियो
You
के
hear
साथ
the
आज
video?
हाजिर हैं। आज
Can you hear the audio?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
हम डोनावूर फेलोशिप पे आए हुए हैं, जो कि तमिलनाडु, साउथ तमिलनाडु में तिरुनेलवेली में है। और यहाँ पे आप देखेंगे कि यहाँ पे बहुत बड़ा एक स्पेस में एमी कार्माइकल, जो कि काफी प्रचलित हुई, उनने यहाँ पे काम किया। यहाँ पे उन्हें चिल्ड्रन स्कूल बनाया। यहाँ पे देवदासी ट्रेडिशंस में से आ रहे थे, उन बच्चों को यहाँ रेस्क्यू करके लाए। और बहुत सारा काम यहाँ पे स्कूल बच्चों के लिए, लड़कियों के लिए, बॉयज के लिए, इन सब के लिए यहाँ पे स्कूल चालू किया। एमी कार्माइकल यहाँ 1901 में आई और 1951 में उनकी डेथ यहीं पे हुई। उसके बीच में 50 साल तक उन्होंने यहाँ पे अपनी सेवाएं दी। हम देखते हैं कि क्या क्या उन्होंने यहाँ पे किया, किस तरह से ये जगह डेवलप हुई और आज तक भी ये जगह यहाँ पे सेवा दे रही है। In the far southern reaches of India, amidst coconut palms and red clay roads, one woman lit a flame that would burn for generations. Her name was Amy Carmichael, and in the village of Donavur, she built a sanctuary where love, sacrifice, and faith would change the lives of thousands. Donavur is a small village found in southern Tamil Nadu. Born in 1867 in the small town of Millisleigh in Ireland, Amy was raised in a devout Christian family. Her early years were marked by a fierce spiritual hunger and a growing compassion for the marginalized. Even as a young girl, Amy stood apart. Amy's journey to India began with missionary service in Japan and Sri Lanka, but India would become her permanent home. In 1895, she arrived in Tamil Nadu, a land foreign yet strangely familiar to her heart. In 1901, Amy encountered Preena, a little girl who had escaped from temple slavery. In that moment, Amy knew her mission was to rescue children trapped in India's hidden underworld of temple exploitation, the Devdasi tradition. What Amy uncovered was shocking. Young girls, often given to temples under religious pretenses, were exploited. Amy chose to intervene despite the dangers of intervening in a traditional practice which exploited young women. Amy Carmichael immersed herself in her new place. She wore saris and learned the local language Tamil. She rescued children from the Devdasi tradition with great risk. Over time, more came. By 1912, the Donavur Fellowship was born. The fellowship became more than a refuge, it became a family. Children called Amy Amma, the Tamil word for mother. She created a home rooted in love, dignity, and faith. Amy believed in whole life transformation, education, faith, discipline, and most of all, unconditional love. Unfortunately, in 1931, a fall confined Amy to bed, but the work did not stop. For nearly 20 years, she wrote prolifically, over 35 books, pouring out her heart. Many of these books are still widely read. Today, the Donahoe Fellowship continues serving children. Amy's legacy lives in every child who finds sanctuary there. Let's listen to what the director here, Jeremiah, is telling us about Donahoe.
Donahoe Fellowship was founded by one Irish missionary called Amy Carmichael. She was born in Ireland in 1867, and through some Anglican mission initiatives, she was sent as a missionary. But in 1901, a remarkable thing happened. On a summer evening on March 7th, a little girl of nearly 7 years of age, she came running towards Amma, helped by another village lady. So she came for help. Then she came to realize about this Devadasi children. So though it was started in a good intention, the Devadasi system, only through those system, I think the arts and music flourished in the days of kings. But eventually it deteriorated and people started abusing the system like any other system. So along with it, some social reformers were also tackling this kind of social evils. But Amma came here. She was sent by the Church of England for some other purpose.
In 1938, December 26, that is my coming day. That is my donor. Amy Carmichael brought me donor fellowship.
How old were you then?
17 days baby.
And since then, you've been living here only?
That's it.
You've never gone out of the place?
No. After 12 years, I went to Panamkota for studies. First form, second form, third form in Panamkota, one of the diocesan school.
So how much have you studied?
Panamkota, 3 years, and then Nazareth school. And that is also diocesan school, mission school. And after that, donor fellowship, everybody gave some training. So at that time, I had nice chance to go to Madras, BK Badar Kalvinalaya, teachers training, 2 years course. And after that, I'm working, I have chance to go working Ramanathapuram, one of the missionary school in Ramanathapuram.
Okay.
Ramanathapuram, St. Andrews Girls High School. That is also missionary school.
And how long did you work there?
Only for 1 year. And then after that, my husband's family asked me to marry their son.
Okay.
Because their son is very nice, gentle type. And he's also offered to donor fellowship. He's always been on donor fellowship. His birthday also in donor hospital. My husband, native place, this place, donor fellowship.
Okay.
My husband's birthday, October 20, 1933, in donor hospital.
Tell us a little bit about Amy Carmichael. You remember her?
I know Amy Carmichael very much. She's very, very gentle type. And always our birthday time, we have chance to go to Amy Carmichael. Amy Carmichael's room. And then she kissed me, and some presents, some sweets. That I think we are very, very, very happy. Because Amy Carmichael, our own mother, she seems like mother. My thought in my mind that she is our mother, Amy Carmichael. Only 12 years old.
12 years.
Before, one day we all had chance to go to Amy Carmichael's room, and then we last I saw her face last time. That is my last time. but we are very small children. So, very nice face, very bright face, but she can't talk anymore.
Okay. Did you remember anything else
Yes.
about her?
I remember even my birthday time. We have chance to go to Amma's room, and then she kissed me. Everybody, she kissed me and gave some presents, sweets
Okay.
and some presents. She liked birds very much.
She liked birds very
Birds
much.
very much.
Yeah. Amy Carmichael's mission required deep sacrifice and enduring physical hardship, which she saw as a chance to die in surrender to God's will. Her unwavering faith sustained her perseverance.
So how I came here was when she started that initial starry cluster band. One of my ancestors was that star, Arulai Tara. Her name is Arulai Tara. Her younger sister also eventually came to Amy Carmichael's mission, and her sons and her grandsons, they were all a part of the mission for more than nearly 125 years now. Yeah, so that's how. So I'm born here. Yeah.
In this campus?
Yeah, in this campus. And my father was also born here. And my grandfather, he was the son of Arulai Tara's sister's son. So I think we have a very long association with Amy Carmichael even before Donor Fellowship was started. So that's why I am here. 1939, we know the Second World War started. And here some German missionaries were also there. So they were considered as aliens at the time. So the British sent a report that they had to be immediately checked out to some alien camps. But here they were like brothers and sisters in Christ. So it was very, very painful for them. So, but they had to be sent out. There was no other way. That's how the idea of universal peace came to Amy Carmichael. Amy Carmichael is known as Amma. So even in that economic difficulty, the elders at the time, with the Amy Carmichael's initiative, they wanted to erect a tower for signifying world peace. So right in the midst of the Second War in 1942, a clock tower was erected here, which is called Samadhana Upparihai. It is Tower of Peace, which is still working in good condition. It works on gravity.
So currently, how many people of you all are there?
Yeah.
How many organizations you have? Yeah.
Right now, what we have is we have a children home who are under the age of 18. We have nearly 33 children there. And then we have an aftercare home where we have girls up to the age of 23. We have nearly 50 children are there, 50 girls are there. Then in Amy Carmichael's time, everybody was young. But now many of the sisters who grew up as orphans, they dedicated their whole life here. We have many, many retired residents here. So above the age of 65 itself, we have more than 80 sisters here. So God has given us the challenge to take care of them. Recently, we renovated an old boys' dormitory into a very senior citizen-friendly space. So sisters are living there. So we are taking care of this elderly women. Then we have a geriatric facility. Then we have a hospital. Then we also have a school where nearly 650 children and staff are staying. The hospital mainly caters to the primary health needs of this group. Nearly 900 living in our campus, including the school, orphanage, aftercare home, elderly home, everything. So the function of the hospital is to give the primary health care. Then we also treat the leprosy patients who are living around here. Some of them we give them free housing and food throughout the year. So, and also we cater to the poor people in the surrounding villages. So these are one of our main units. And to support this, we have farms like dairy farms, vegetable farms, paddy farms. We do totally organic farming. So these are all some activities which we do here.
Beyond rescuing children, Amy had a profound respect for nature and made a lasting impact on local biodiversity. In 1917, she led the Donor Fellowship to acquire the Naraikadu forest near the Western Ghats, insisting it to be left to regenerate naturally. Over decades, this approach transformed a former plantation into a thriving, biodiverse forest, now a rare protected area within the Western Ghats. What are your future plans for this place?
Yeah, right now, our new vision states lives uplifted, enlightened and empowered. So we are still trying to continue where our strengths are, like taking children, child care. So, for example, we were getting very few children, but last year we had 17 children in a single year, which has not happened in the past 30 years. So, I think the government is also recognizing our work. We are also changing the way we work, some of the way, because we have to take children from abusive backgrounds. It's much easier to groom orphan children because they don't have any inhibitions, any trauma, anything. But so now we have to get very technical help from a lot of people.
You mean sexually abused children?
Yeah, even from POXO cases, the children are admitted here. So we are also trying to increase the numbers to a certain level. We don't measure the growth by just numbers. So we may extend go up to maybe 50 or 60 children. That's the best we can do. Then another thing is we realized after much survey, there are a lot of early pregnancies, unwanted pregnancies, and abuse of teenage girls. So for them, we want to use that old Nichaya place. So for a short stay home, we can take care of them and take care of them in the pregnancy. Then if they still want to continue, we can teach them some livelihoods. Then give them counseling, then we can leave it. So that is also being worked out. And we have much expertise in early childhood education program. But now, since we are not allowed to take children below the age of 5, we have lost the touch. But now we want to reach the children around the villages. So here we found, after a survey, we found that there is much gap, much need in the early childhood education. Because there are so many schools, English medium schools, where parents are sending their children with ties and socks. They think if they spend much in English medium schools, they would get a better returns. It's not like that. Even at the age of 2, 3, they are made to learn 1 to 100. They are made to learn alphabet. They are just killing their creativity. So we have identified a place where we will be very soon starting early childhood education on an international standard, but which will be affordable to the people around here. So because we think that's very crucial in nation building. Maybe through that profit, we may start a charitable elderly home later. So these are some of our plans now.
Amy Carmichael once said, "You can give without loving, but you cannot love without giving." She gave everything, and in doing so, revealed a love deeper than fear, stronger than oppression. Her light still shines in Dohnavur, not because she sought greatness, but because she followed the call. Amy also prioritized tree planting and gardening at Dohnavur, inspiring children to love and care for the natural world through walks in the hills, gardening, and education about local ecology. This enduring ethos of spiritual and ecological well-being continues in the fellowships, eco-farming, and conservation work today. हमने आपको डोनावुर फेलोशिप के बारे में बताया, किस तरह से यहाँ बिल्कुल नेचर के साथ जुड़े हुए और आज भी एमी कारमाइकल ने जो काम शुरू किया था उसको आगे बढ़ा रहे हैं और एकदम नेचुरल तरीके से यहाँ पे गाड़ियाँ नहीं आती हैं, यहाँ पे वो लोग साइकिल या चलते हैं और हर काम वो यहीं पे करने की कोशिश करते हैं, चाहे कारपेंट्री हो, चाहे यहाँ पे प्लम्बिंग हो, वेल्डिंग हो, वो सब अपने आप ही वो लोग मैनेज करते हैं। एग्रीकल्चर भी बहुत अच्छी तरह से यहाँ पे वो ऑर्गेनिक तरीके से करते हैं। आपका क्या मानना है? आप डेफिनेटली हमें कमेंट करके बताइएगा। इस तरह के वीडियोस अगर आप पसंद कर रहे हैं तो आप हमें बताइए, हम डेफिनेटली और इस तरह के वीडियोस करेंगे। हमारे वीडियोस को आप सब्सक्राइब कीजिए, शेयर कीजिए, लाइक कीजिए। धन्यवाद।
Okay. So, thank you. Thank you. So, actually, I'm so encouraged because when you're doing something after my whole life, I've been a journalist in a secular platform. And when you're doing something, things like that, when God does, He reinforces. I mean, every time you have this doubt, wonder if I'm kind of in God's plan, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Then this kind of award, it's a small award, but it encourages me and it makes me, and it really tells me that yes, I'm on the right track. I should just keep going ahead and do more. So yeah, if there's now any questions, you want to ask something, please do so. Or if you want to know what we're doing in future, we're going to Patna and Varanasi, to Patna to do election related coverage, Varanasi to do to meet some victims of persecution in Uttar Pradesh. There's a lot of that, but also to do stories on the boatmen. By the way, most of them are Muslims, and weavers of Banarsi sari, also Muslims. So let's see how that goes. And yeah, if there is any question people would like to ask, this would be a good time.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Sister Kellogg, for your efforts and the documentary. Uh, it was really wonderful and, uh, you know, very encouraging to see the movie and the life about Amy Carmichael. Is I read somewhere that it's I think it's there on Wikipedia that she actually dyed herself in coffee so that she looks like a foreigner. Is that true? I mean, she looks like an Indian, by the way.
Yes, yes, I've heard that story also. Since I couldn't confirm it, the journalist in me wouldn't let me write that. But yes, she was very upset earlier that her eyes were dark colored and she didn't have blue eyes. But later, when she came to India, she realized that the reason God gave her dark eyes was so brown, dark brown eyes, so that she could blend in here. And she did try, I've heard about this dyeing herself with coffee. Yeah.
I
Yes.
don't think she dyed herself, but she covered herself with coffee, basically to blend in with, because she would stand out as a, Caucasian. So to blend in with the South Indian people, she covered herself with coffee to darken her skin so she wouldn't stand out.
Yes.
Yeah, that's also what I heard. True.
Yes. So, anybody has any questions or comments?
Could maybe have comments on the fact that when you're traveling to remote places in India, how do you cope as a woman? So that's, if anybody's interested, I could tell you that. One big problem is finding toilets clean and safe place to sleep, safety is a concern. And of course, we are careful, but yeah.
Hello,
Yes.
brother Prashant. Can I ask
Yeah,
this
yeah. Yeah, definitely.
something?
Yeah.
Okay. Great work done by uh, Sonal ma'am. So I just read on wiki right now that Amy had neuralgia, a medical condition called neuralgia. So actually, I am also suffering from the same condition. My mother is also having some form of neuralgia. So it's basically a nerve condition which actually causes intense pain along the nerve roots, and there might be loss of sensation. So this condition, Amy was suffering since a long time, since her childhood, I guess. So that was hampering her a lot of overseas trip because she traveled to Japan and she went to various places, tried to fit into the missionary scene out there, but she couldn't because she had to return back. I think probably due to this condition. So that's that's highly appreciable. Like it's very laudable effort on a part. Like somebody at back then when medicine was not that developed, and still she fought all these odds and came. So it's truly very commendable, and only a person who is very strong in faith can do such kind of work. It's because I know what how neuralgia debilitates a person. First thing, and second observation of mine was that Amy looked quite scholarly. She had a scholarly disposition because she was very prolific in her work. She has written many books and articles, And so here is a lady who has who has a lot of personality, versatile traits, so another very rare thing to have. And third thing is that when I read about, when I was watching the documentary, the first thought which came to my mind was, yeah, okay, so here is some kind of semblance with another great missionary from Pune, that's Pandita Ramabai. So, her mission is very near to my place, and the same kind of feeling I got when I saw the documentary. So, so it became a bit nostalgic, and yeah. So, these are my, and thanks again, ma'am, Sonal ma'am, a great work. I know it takes a lot of pain, especially, to travel and being a lady. It's very difficult because I've not been to many places because my health also is not very good. I'm a frail person by have. So, chalo, and congratulations for, this documentary, and I hope we will get to see more of it in the future of such kind of documentaries. Yeah. So thank you, ma'am. Yeah.
Prashant, may I say something? This is
Yeah,
Anita.
definitely, yes, yes.
Yeah. Um, Hi, Sonal. It's so good to see this video of yours. I understand what the journey is like because when I went, I felt there was no turning or no markers. It was like a journey into nowhere. But I just wanted to ask you one question. I think you've done a very good service to bring it to film. One question. She was working against an established system. Perhaps a little bit, you can tell us personally if it was not appropriate to put it in the film. What were some of the opposition she faced and how did she manage that? How did she manage to persevere? And at the end of that, I'd like to read a poem of hers, which is one of my favorites. Yeah. Thank you, Sonal.
Yeah, so I made just a small comment that she um, rescued children with
Mm,
great difficulty. Yeah,
mm,
she was facing opposition from the local priests, basically. Because
yeah.
when you rescue children from the children of Devdasis, then you are rescuing future Devdasis, actually. So,
Yeah.
yeah, she was facing that opposition. But from what the uh, person in charge, the CEO, Mr. Jeremiah, was saying, she didn't care. She just kept doing her thing.
Yeah.
And people around her would tell her to be careful. And, there were the British officers were also there uh, and who would know what she's doing. And they would also tell her to be careful, but she didn't kind of care. She just
Mm,
kept doing it. And sometimes people there would warn her that
mm,
you will face problem
mm,
or
mm,
but she basically just prodded through the whole thing.
mm.
That's my impression, that she didn't stop and she didn't really take too much note of these people. And also, it was the British times, so she had that little bit of protection being a foreigner.
Yeah.
So yeah, advantage of that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for bringing out her reckless abandon in doing what she had to do. Yeah.
To
May
her
I
and
read?
me are
Yeah.
like reckless. To kind of like me, also people tell me you're in news, aren't you
Yeah.
scared? Like you just have to do it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
scared or not scared, you just have to. Though I'm not too much of a scared type of person, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. May I read out one of her poems? My favorite.
Anita, your volume, you have switched off your mic. Uh, Anita, unmute yourself.
You are muted, Auntie.
You are muted. Y- You are muted. You are muted. We can't hear you. I think she's.
She is trying to unmute, but I think she's not getting it.
Thank you.
I think we can probably, she has some technical trouble. She can probably read it.
Jyoti Sang was asking about her particular health condition. Again, the CEO and whatever books I was able to get, specifically, I couldn't find that. But yeah, she got very sick actually when she went to Japan and was sent back. So that I know of. But the last 20 years of her life, she spent bedridden in Donauwood. That's when she wrote most of her books, actually, while she was bedridden.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
It's called Hast Thou No Scar? No hidden scar or on foot or side or hand. I hear thee sung as mighty in the land. I hear them hail thy bright ascendant star. Hast thou no scar? Hast thou no scar? Yet I was wounded by the archers spent, leaned me against the tree to die and rent by ravening beasts that compassed me. I swooned. Hast thou no scar? No wound, no scar, yet as the master shall the servant be, and pierced are the feet that follow me, but thine are whole. Can he have followed far who has no wound or scar? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Wonderful poem.
Mm.
Yes, and I think I don't know, people from Tamil Nadu can probably tell, but from what I understand that this um, entire southern part of India, like the deep south, particularly this Kerala, Tamil Nadu, deep south, Tirunelveli, all these places, right? There are a lot of Christian presence because the kings were the kings of this area, particularly Madurai and Travancore. The Madurai kingdom, the Pandyas were based in Madurai, and the given kingdom eventually disintegrated, and but before that the kings were uh, quite warm to Christianity, and so also the kings of Travancore. So some of the kings of Travancore. So I think that is the social background in by which uh, Amy was operating in. I think that Vishal can probably add more about that.
So if you want, I will speak to that particular thing, what you're telling.
Okay, yeah,
Now,
sure.
Amy Carmichael, actually the name Donavur comes from a count whose name was Dona. And that's where the name Donavur comes from, because this count much earlier, maybe 17th, 18th century, had invested in the gospel coming to this place. And before Amy, there was another Reverend Walker who was in Donavur, and he was working there, and he was the one who learned Tamil and was doing a lot of translation work. Amy learned Tamil from Reverend Walker. There is a CSI church, and there is a school called Walker Higher Secondary School. And Amy, along with Reverend Walker, did a lot of work. In fact, the first girl whom she rescued, her name is Preena, almost about 25 to 30 kilometers from Donavur, where that first story of Preena is recorded, and that mandir, that where the monkey used to ring the bell, and the priests used to not allow the girls to escape, the Devadasi girls. And there's a mission complex still very close to that temple where this girl ran to. So the area, that environment, though there were missionaries and people who were Caucasians came there. In fact, if you go to Padmanabhapuram, Puram fort, which is close to Nagarkoil. Over there, you will hear of Dutch military soldiers who worked for the king over there, and eventually missionaries and priests came to that locality. But she faced a lot of opposition, not only from the local population, but as well as internally. There was a lot of opposition. People did not like what she was doing, and there was a lot of opposition that she faced.
Yes. Are you from that area? Right. Yes.
I
So
was born in Dohnavur Fellowship.
you were born in Dohnavur?
Fellowship. Yes.
Oh,
My
okay.
mother is from
Awesome.
Dohnavur Fellowship.
Oh,
And presently, I'm working with Dohnavur Fellowship to help build their the whole agro structure for them. We're helping build that up for Dohnavur Fellowship.
awesome. Oh, how lovely. I wish I knew you before I was making the thing. Then we would have
Yes.
included your account in there.
Maybe some other time, ma'am, I'll get in touch with you. I know Isaac Emmanuel, and we can speak about, we can make a much better movie out of,
Sure.
this is a good one, but we can really bring out the history and what actually Amy Carmichael achieved in that area.
Yeah, true. I'm sure you would have a much better perspective.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Vishal, would you like to comment,
Sure.
especially on the work done by Amy in petitioning the authorities to stop this system? I think, yeah.
Well, thank you very much. There are lots of videos by Hindus attacking missionary opposition to sati. And one of their arguments is that sati was a very small problem. Very few women were being burnt alive. The missionaries blew up the problem. Of course, even a single widow being burnt alive is a horrible thing, but it doesn't matter to these Hindu apologists whose interest is in attacking. But what is not realized is that the widows who were not burnt alive, so many of these widows would be 8, 9 years old, who were married off to older men, particularly in the upper castes, they had the only option to become temple prostitutes, Devadasis. So the total number of Devadasis is never known, but many of these temples had as many as 100, 400, 500 temple prostitutes, which is reflected in the architecture of, say, Khajuraho and in Madurai, which is horrible, the degradation that these young girls not being allowed, young widows not being allowed to study, to develop skills. So you have here a contrast to the Hindu attitude to women and the Christian attitude to women. You think of the women who are worshipped in goddesses who are worshipped in Hinduism, Kali, or even Radha. Shri Krishna has 14,000 wives. None of his wives is worshipped. Radha is worshipped, who is not his wife. She is his consort, girlfriend. Parvati, the horrible stories of why all of this Kavadi movement in North India, where they are taking walking for days to get Ganga water to bathe Shivling, the male organ of god Shiva, which is worshipped in female part of Parvati. The stories behind it, which are never taught to us, of which is really what are the priests trying to do to women in teaching them that how they have to make themselves available. Yesterday, I was listening to a Bhavishya Puran where Brahma is describing how a whole woman's personality can be judged by looking at her private parts. That's Bhavishya Puran, which is Brahma's description of a female organ, which he's using to help men understand what a woman is. So this is the ugly part of Hinduism, which these Hindu apologists do not never talk about. So rescuing these girls is part of the Christian affirmation that God's will is to restore the dignity of these abandoned girls who will be used in Hindu temples by Hindu priests and aristocrats. So, one of the very important missing link in this documentary is the need. Why were these girls being made devdasis? What was going on in the temples? And this positive act of Amy Carmichael, and Pandit Ramabai did that later on. She would go around to Mathura, Vrindavan to buy these girls. So this is a clash of two worldviews, two views of women, and then the whole battle to educate, to remarry, to ban child marriage, etc. This was a long, drawn-out battle, and I hope that in your future work, Sonal, you will study and point out those things.
I want to do on Pandita Ramabai, so I will definitely get more.
But I mean, she herself was a child widow, and so that important confronting India, confronting these arrogant high caste Hindus who would condemn. So today in North India, Amy Carmichael would have been arrested for trying to convert women. So like the nuns in Chhattisgarh, when they're trying to rescue and give life to these tribal women, their motive is conversion, as they would attack. So I think using your work as a counterattack of what exactly has Jesus done to emancipate women, but it's not just about women. Empires are built by armies of young people, young men who would use violence, but nations are built by women, mothers who are educated. A great nation is a nation which has strong, educated women. So the fact that you're doing it, this work is wonderful. And yes, I think celebrating Ramabai is very good. Just for your information, the Baptist mission out of Nagaland, they're trying to make a film on William Carey, a documentary. And I'm thinking that we should probably use animation to make that documentary. A group in Mumbai, connected to Hollywood, they are talking about making a film on the Bible's contribution to India. And I'm encouraging them to consider making a film on agriculture, because agriculture has many visual ideas. And we all talk about education. We talk all about medicine, like you mentioned, Ida Scudder, etc. But the fact that the entire Green Revolution and the White Revolution, the Milk Revolution, is a Christian contribution. And none of our pastors and evangelists and apologists will talk about it, that it is God's will to give a great nation flowing with milk and honey. So the 19th century theology, 20th century theology, early theology, which built these movements was very different than the evangelical movement today, which thinks that mission means taking souls to heaven. So evangelicalism has been badly corrupted by American theology, which has corrupted Indian Christianity. So I raised 2 days ago the question, why are there no Christian journalists in India? Dr. Babu Varghese book, Let There Be India, points out that all of journalism was brought to India by Christian missions. But today we don't have any high quality journalism. You are doing what you're able to do with your limited resources and ability, and praise the Lord for it, that He's using you. But we need many more people to get rid of the influence of American evangelicalism and recover the idea that God's will ought to be done on earth. It's not you going to heaven, but the kingdom of heaven coming to this earth, India being transformed. That part has been forgotten almost for 100 years. Amy Carmichael was one of the happy exceptions, but I'm glad to hear that you are trying to work on Pandit Ramabai, because the Ramabai Mukti Mission is also facing problems. And it will be good to confront those problems head on in the opposition from Hindutva.
I already teach in the university. I'm very keen to teach Christian, devoted Christians journalism so that they can get into it. But yeah, it hasn't happened.
Well, in my book, India, the Grand Experiment, I think, or it could be Missionary Conspiracy, I have the history of the origin of journalism. The Puritan preachers who were in the Anglican Church, when the bishops won't allow them to preach, they began to write. So journalism, modern journalism, is a product of Puritan Christianity. And the early Puritan writers paid heavily for it. So how did journalism, press became the fourth state of democracy? Executive, legislative, and judicial, and then the press becoming the fourth state. This is a Christian transformation which looked back on the prophets, that the prophets had no institutional power, but they had divine authority to speak truth and justice to power. So journalism became fourth state because the Christian public saw these Puritans who were speaking against bishops, against courts, against the kings, against parliaments. And they had the courage, and they were suffering for it, paying for their speak. And it is that mental or metal of the modern journalism that has to be recovered in India, because otherwise Hindutva and Adani and Ambani have bought the whole media. Thanks for the social media, but the fact that mainstream media has been become part of the state. It's not a fourth state. It is actually the propaganda wing of the Hindutva movement. So there's a great need to recover the Christian journalism, and I admire the fact that you have persisted, and God has blessed you, and you have you're doing what you're able to do, but with help from people like David, even just improving this. So his idea that you've sown a seed, let's work on it and improve it. And this, I think that improvement should include this angle of why were these girls becoming Devadasis? What did it mean to be a Devadasi? What were they being rescued from and given a new life? So the view of what a
One of,
woman is
one of
within Hinduism. Yeah.
One of the ladies in South told me when this person I met at Madras, Selvi Ganesh, if you know her, she was saying actually Devdasis are worse than prostitutes because
Yes.
Devdasis don't even get paid for their services. So they are actually in a worse situation than a prostitute.
Yes.
That's what she was saying.
Yes. They are glorified, they're servants of God. So they're glorified and they do get a room and, I mean, not private rooms, but place to sleep and security of a temple. And then the stigma is lessened when there are 500 of you doing the same thing, serving priests and aristocrats. But I think bringing those elements of what was a Devdasi and historical. From pre-British period, where many of these temples, such as Madurai and Mylapore in Chennai itself, many of these temples had hundreds, if not thousands, of Devdasis, but we don't have records of pre-British period. So the Hindu culture that Hindutva brags about, how oppressive it was, you can gently point out in these videos. But I'll stop there. Thank you for what you've done. And our job is not to criticize or condemn what you've done, but to build upon it, as Brother David said.
Just one thing other that I'd like to cover with all of you. It was not only Devadasis, but uh, the girl child were actually left at the edge of the roads. They were left at the doorstep of Donovan Fellowship, at the doorstep where Amy Carmichael used to stay. People would just come and leave their girls over there. Eventually, it was not only girls, but even boys also were, uh, you know, young boys of lower caste. Even they were just, left on, just at Donor Fellowship doorstep. So at one point of time, there were boys also, a huge group of boys who were being looked after by the missionaries. So there's a much larger story about what happened in those days, which can be told from 1905 to almost 1950, 1955.
Thank you.
And by the way, Dr. Vishal, my mother used to actually work for you at one point of time. You were in Tracy in New Delhi. She
Oh,
used to
yes.
work with the Evangelical Fellowship of India under Dr. John Richards. And she has worked actually for you for some time in Tracy
I
when you were
remember
in
her.
Tracy.
I remember
Her
her.
name is Jiva Nadi.
Yes. Yes, I remember her. We were impressed by her abilities. Yes.
Yes, so
Actually,
I
the
think
amount of work we need to do, there's so much. Sadhu Sundar Singh, Bhakt Singh. I mean, there's just so many. And so many hospitals have been made by women outside. And but even for those who are doing now, it's just overwhelming actually. The amount of work. There's too many of us who need to, like you said, write. Also, not just make videos, but write. There's so much to be done. And so few of us doing it. So yes. But these things are encouraging when you get appreciated and you kind of move along and resolve to do more.
Thank you.
Yes. So I think that brings us to the end of today's um, session, and thank you, Sister Sonal, for agreeing to speak to us, and also for doing the documentary. And we wish you many more documentaries and films and awards.
Amen.
So yeah, so thank you. I'd like to invite Sister Anita to close us in prayer. Um, are you still there, Sister Anita?
Yeah, I'm still there.
Yes. So please close us in prayer.
Let's pray. Father, how amazing it is when we look at people who are inspired by you, who are directed by you, who are faithful to you in the work that they do. Thank you for Amy's life and the many hidden things that are still to be brought out. Thank you for Sonal, and thank you for her, the way you led her into this, making this video, Lord, and her sense of purpose and calling in making this. I just pray a blessing on her, that you would give her vision and clarity. The field is huge, but give her vision and clarity about where she should go, what work she should undertake. And Lord, time is limited. Father, this country needs to hear about people who worked out of, in abandonment to your calling. And I pray for her that as she seeks to find these kind of people in Pandita Ramabai's mission and other places too, that you will give her a success and impact that cannot be measured by, cannot be predicted by human standards. Thank you for this forum. Thank you, Dr. Vishal, and the others who have come here, for David, and those associated with Donover. Lord, it's such a sentimental moment, and we just thank you for the ability to have a glimpse at this. Just pray all this, believing, Lord, that you have a lot of mission work left. And as Sonal said, not only missionaries of the past, but people who are doing mission work now, who are hidden from the public eye. Lord, the sacrifice, the service that they live off, that needs to be brought out in a world that is demanding rights. And thank you for this small glimpse, and we pray a blessing on all that will follow. Thank you. In Jesus' mighty and powerful name, I